Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes treasury teams make when it comes to their FX risk management is over reliance on just Excel, an army of Excel spreadsheets, or just a system that does FX along with some other things and doesn't do FX nearly well enough. So the problem is that FX is really mostly corner cases with so many companies of having to spend most of their time on a lot of those corner case issues. So anything that doesn't get into depth or customize a solution for what they need is just not going to cover those corner cases. With just very manual processes still, folks end up still really spending a lot of their time as data managers, not FX risk managers, and just really kind of burning time with lots of manual processes. Yeah, I'd say, the most obvious red flag that teams have that show that they're just not using the right systems or tools or have the wrong processes in place, et cetera, would just be unexplained FX results. So sometimes that comes in waves when there's a lot of volatility and we get a lot of interest all of a sudden from, you get that tops down directive. It's like, okay, why did we lose X amount because of foreign exchange this quarter or this month? So that's just the most obvious red flag. That's where the rubber hits the road. And if you can't explain, your results, and then that's the problem. And usually the underlying problem behind that is they don't have a great grasp on what their existing FX exposures are. So they can't see what those are at any given time or understand them. And then if you can't understand what your existing exposures are, you're not going to have much success in forecasting your future exposures, which you then would need to do in order to hedge those effectively. So yeah, the biggest red flag for sure is just the results themselves being mysterious and not adequate. I think the role for Treasury and FX risk managers over the next few years will have a few different changes, hopefully. One would be a little bit more interaction with FP&A or other customers of foreign exchange risk management to some extent. So to the degree that FP&A is helping, that's the main forecasting muscle of the company, and they're driving the monthly iterative forecasts that get a lot of attention. And if they're not understanding how FX works and folds into that forecast, that's a problem. So Treasury and FP&A really need to work together to help kind of bridge that gap between what's often a once a year planning exercise and a layered hedging program, and that confuses a lot of people, and they don't really always get that right. So as we kind of leave a period of a few years of pretty low volatility and enter what I think will be high volatility for a while here, I think that's going to be increasingly more needed. So there's going to be, the need to have some scenario planning, some currency analysis or things like that could be helpful for investor relations and putting a spin on results for a quarter where FX has gone against you. But just even, some shock testing and saying, okay, what if? And don't have a strategy that only works for if the dollar does this or that. You want something that's going to work. If there's a 10% weakening from here, or 10% strengthening, or even more, are you comfortable with your strategy? And what does that look like? Because how does that impact your unhedged exposures, et cetera? So that requires a lot of tight coordination between Treasury and FP&A. There's a lot of difficulties when it comes to FX risk management from the forecasting perspective. Some companies might have a lot of stuff that's driven by IC relationships, so payables and receivables between entities that FP&A doesn't forecast at all, probably because it nets to zero for the company. But that wreaks havoc on Treasury because some of those intercorporate relationships could be in the functional currency of one entity but not the other, and where it's not, those currency pairs are causing problems and causing FX risk that needs to be hedged and really difficult to forecast. So we've had some great success with our customers of using AI to help forecast some of these things that people are just not very good at forecasting. So you have large data sets, we get years worth of data, put this together and put AI to the task. I even bring in exogenous variables. It really does an amazing job of improving the forecast by a lot and also saving tons of time. So it's just not a an exercise that people are wanting to do or successful in doing. So that's a really obvious use case for AI. And there could be others as well in terms of just, the workflow and enhancing the whole FX risk management. I think it will be very important to incorporate AI into that.